adjust to the situation that you are going through and realize that, okay, well, I got to take a little break for this. And it was actually, on that part too, it was really
humbling.
And we're live.
Hi friends, welcome to My Divorce Real Estate. I'm Amber Gifford, and this is my husband and teammate, Scotty Gifford. Y'all probably know that by now if you watch multiple videos, but
hopefully you're watching all our videos to get educated. But today, so we're going to be talking about the rental homes and how to qualify for a rental property if you are looking for a rental home. Maybe you're looking for a rental home because you just, are moving from apartments, or maybe you're looking for a rental home because you're going to be moving out of your house and just need to move into a rental, downsizing or post-divorce. So
yeah, post-divorce would be key here too, because that's what most people are interested in, like, where am I going to live and how much is it going to cost and how am I going to get approved, especially if the one who's moving out is going back to work for the first time. Mm-hmm. So it's a little scary, like, who's going to approve me. So there's just some basic guidelines that as real estate agents we follow, because this is what landlords are dictating to us that they need.
Yeah. And so full disclosure, both Amber and I, have rental properties ourselves, and we've helped multiple people, get into rental properties along the way. So this is from real life experience dealing with actual, other landlords and our requirements too that we would have. So
what's the first thing money wise?
So first time, the money thing, usually they're going to look at making sure that you make 3 times the rent, right? And that's going to be,
monthly
gross, not net, right? So so say if you're looking at a place, let's just keep it simple, that's $1,000 a month for rent, well, then you need to make $3,000,
a month, showing in your pay stubs or a deposit into your bank account. Can you use your child support to use that as income? Sure you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. any income that you are regularly receiving could be used for, monthly income.
I'll touch on the divorce part at the end. So you need to make 3 times the amount of the monthly rent. A lot of times they're asking for a specific credit score not to be under 600. Not always, but
yeah, we've seen flexibility on that. It's just going to come down to the situation of, the landlord, how much demand do they have for their property, and, if they're willing to
put in a higher security deposit. Yeah. Sometimes you can finagle that too, like, hey, they're right at the cutoff. I know you want this, but, they have X amount of dollars in their savings account. They're willing to give a heftier security deposit. What can we do to make this deal happen? That's what I always say.
Yeah. And so you just mentioned security deposit. Well, what are we looking at for security deposit on a rental property?
First month's rent.
So it's usually be the first month. So in the example earlier, we said it's $1,000 a month for rent. Well, usually, it's usually going to be 1 month's rent. So maybe an additional $1,000
right
in the security deposit's going to be. And when is that going to be due?
First day prior to.
Whenever you're moving in, right?
Right. So they don't typically ask for last month's rent. You can't make your security deposit be your last month's rent. And if you're prorating, like moving in mid-month, they usually prorate the second month. Mm-hmm. So the first month, but I'm moving in on the 15th. Well, you're going to pay the full $1,000 plus your $1,000 security deposit. And then the next month we'll prorate you the dates that you moved in. Yeah.
So say you moved in mid-month, like she said, then you would, the $500 would be for the next month.
Right.
That'd be your
first. I had somebody that didn't do that. So we're kind of talking standards here.
Yeah, every situation might be different, but we're just looking at a general situation. So talking about security deposits, the other thing that sometimes they're going to require, or most people will require, is the background check as well, as long as the credit check, right?
Yeah, so no criminal history, preferably. They don't really want that. That would just make sure. I always ask that when I'm pre-interviewing. Do you have anything on your record that I should know about? So don't be offended if your agent who's helping you asks you questions like, what's your credit score? Do you have a criminal background history? They're going to dig in deep, and this could be a little like nosing, but we have to know in order to represent you, to give our best position forward for the landlord.
Yeah, and so and I promise you, no agent's going to want to work with you if you can't tell them how much money you make or what your credit score is, at least in ballpark figures, because they don't want to waste their time, just like you shouldn't be wanting to waste your own time looking for places that you can't get qualified for.
Yeah, I hear all the time too. Oh, but I can afford more. I can afford more. But it doesn't matter. They at least want to see 3 times the amount of the income that you're bringing in. Something else too, you'll be required to have rental insurance. So we require that as well. All landlords require that. And with that, we didn't talk about pets.
Yeah, so let me touch on the rental insurance. It's usually not that expensive to get rental insurance because you're just really insuring your contents, your stuff, right? Your couch, your TV, your plates and stuff like that. So it's usually pretty cheap for a monthly cost basis. It's not going to be too expensive. The landlord would be still responsible for insuring the home itself, right? But the landlord isn't going to be insuring your stuff if something happens. So you want to make sure that your stuff is covered. Because it's everything in the household is yours.
Things happen. We're in Houston. We had a freeze. We had a pipe burst in one of our rentals. The whole place flooded. Thank God they had renter's insurance as they're supposed to, and they kept it up because their landlord could ask you at any point in time, hey, send me that declaration page. I want to see it.
Yeah. Well, and that allowed them to move, go get some place that was covered by the insurance because they weren't able to live in the property with it flooded. So they were able to have their insurance cover for them, put them up in the hotel, right, while the property was being fixed.
Right. And as a landlord, the insurance dictates like, hey, we can't have aggressive animals on the property or we won't insure you. So everyone is kind of different on that scenario. But if you do have pets, be prepared to pay pet rent monthly as well as a deposit, most of the time non-refundable deposit for your pet. They do consider aggressive pets. Don't kill me on this one, but they say Labradors, Great Danes. I mean, obviously pit bulls, Doberman Pinschers, Chow Chow dogs. So you just have to be upfront. A lot of landlords ask for, hey, how much does your dog weigh? Let me see a picture of them. They want to know specifics, and they have a right to because they're living on their property.
Yeah, that's going to be one of those things that
case by case.
Yeah, it's case by case, and not every landlord is going to allow pets.
Yeah.
To be honest, too. So there might be some times when they say,
they're
hey,
like, whatever. I mean, again, that's where you need an agent to come in to negotiate that for you, to be upfront and give them all the information. If this all pertains to like your post-divorce, you're having to be the out spouse that moves out, you say you haven't worked or you just got a job and you're not able to provide 3 months worth of pay stubs, this is where you need to find a divorce real estate specialist who can come in and write a really good negotiation letter with that landlord or that landlord's agent to say, listen, this is the situation. You kind of have to lay your cards on the table. Like, my client is receiving X amount of dollars from the sale of their home, which brings their savings account to this. They would fully be able to afford this place. Their job doesn't start for 30 days or they just started, so we don't have pay stubs. So you have to really be creative as an agent and how you present these clients to landlords. Haven't had one denied yet, but again, I'm very communicative as Scotty is, and we kind of lay it all on the table, full disclosure. And I keep this in mind too. If you're renting after owning a home, it may not be the home that you thought you were going to end up in, and you're not going to end up there. It's a temporary situation taking you to the next situation. So it may not be initially what you wanted because you just got a job. Maybe you have to go a little lower in the rent, somewhere different. But then once you've been there a year, then you can move on to something else.
Yeah, I mean, that's when I went through my divorce. That was my situation, right? I was going to go out and buy, but then I decided, well, with all this outgo of money, and the attorneys, and I didn't have, a bunch of cash on hand post-divorce, that I was going to be house poor, and I was using up all my money. So if anything happened, I wouldn't be able to pay to fix anything. So I ended up deciding to rent. I'm just going to rent for 6 more months, and then I'm going to go buy. End up renting for 3 years because it was a better situation for me, and it just worked out in the long term. But, just know that this is a temporary situation. If you're coming out of divorce, it doesn't have to be forever. And we do believe in home ownership in the long term as real estate agents and, as investors and just seeing the general trend overall in the market. So we do know and believe in home ownership. We just understand that sometimes life happens and you have to adjust the situation that you are going through and realize that, okay, well, I got to take a little break for this. And it was actually, on that part too, it was really humbling, but it was also like, freeing in a way, right? I didn't have a big house to take care of for a little bit, and I could just refine, spending time refocusing and refining myself again post-divorce, because, it's a lot to go through.
And not to mention, too, I know being a woman, you have children and something breaks, like the pressure's on you to fix that garbage disposal, or my air conditioner went out, or whatever the case may be. Like, if you have I was a stay-at-home mom for 12 years, so then I went to work, and then going back, it was daunting to work and come home and take care of the kids and dinner in the house, and then something's breaking, and it's just a lot. It is very freeing, I think, to rent. So this is not only for people who are post-divorce going through it, but for anybody that's what it takes to qualify to get a rental home. We highly recommend using a licensed real estate agent to help you, especially if you're going through a divorce. Look for a divorce real estate specialist who knows the ins and outs of this, how to finagle the situation based on maybe your decree isn't finalized, but you're yet to receive X dollars, or it's impending, and we can still find a place for you.
Yeah, and one more tip while thinking about this, why am I going to be using a real estate agent when I'm looking for a rental property? Don't they have better things to do, or why are we doing that?
Why?
Well, because you don't have to pay for that help, right? You are getting that help because the landlord is usually paying for your agent to be paid to help you get into that home. So you get free help in getting qualified and moving into a place, and someone's opening the door for you. So utilize that free help when you're going through that.
Something else I just thought of that's important as an agent that I'm always cognizant of in the back of my head, especially if it's someone who's going through divorce. Like, I don't want to go out, and there's usually an application fee that's involved with these, and so it could be anywhere from $50 to $100. I always call the other agent or the listing and be like, how many applications do you have? Are you considering someone where yet? Because I don't want my divorcing client to be putting out $100 here, $100 there, when there's already 10, 15, and they're highly considering someone. So keep that in mind. Again, that goes back to finding the right agent for you. But if you're doing it on your own, be aware that there's going to be app fees, and you need to know all that information. And another listing agent may not talk to you like they would another real estate agent.
Yeah, they're going to have their guard up, right? So, yeah, just these are all helpful tips for you for when you're finding a rental home and how to qualify for that rental property when you are shopping around. So, you can always reach out to us. Here you can check us out on our website if you are going through a divorce, or if you're just looking for a rental at thegiffordgroup.net.
And as always, we're here to bring you real life experiences to all your real estate needs.
Going through that divorce.
Something else sorry.